While we're waiting for everyone else, guys, my intention today is just really kind of to show you how I use opportunities and how it works for me. If you have any questions, I'll certainly do my best to answer them. And if I can't answer them, we will get you an answer. But it's a really neat tool to use in Command and can provide a really interesting picture of kind of where your business is going, but also what I've learned is it really helps to look back and see where your business is coming from. And I'll show you different things that you can use to kind of help track that as well. If you're not using the tags for contacts and opportunities yet, I certainly recommend it, and I'll show you why I recommend that here in a little bit. So with that, it's 10:02, so we'll get started, and feel free to interrupt as we go along if you guys have any questions at all. I'm going to assume everybody here has a contact in their database already, but if you don't and you need me to show you how to add a contact, we can certainly do that now. So the first thing I'm going to do is just head over to opportunities, and hopefully you guys can kind of follow along with my screen. So up here we have your listings, your listing opportunities, and you have your buyer opportunities. We also have leases down below, but we don't do that here in Nova Scotia or most of Canada. So that's, for me anyway, is largely and completely unused. The one thing I learned today, just kind of doing this, and we'll come back to this later, but over here it shows you your potential income and your probable income for both your listings and your buyers. The one thing that was shocking to me as I kind of got ready for this last evening and this morning is you can see the gap between my probable income and my potential income for my buyers. So right away, that shows me that I've got some work to do because I want my probable income to be as close to my potential income as possible. So I've got a big gap here. What that means is I've got a whole bunch of people at the top of my funnel over here in appointments, and I'm going to want to move them over because the further they come along in this further they come along in your opportunities in your funnels, the more likelihood that they're actually going to transact and turn into real potential income. So just before we get started, or before I kind of get into how to create, so within your listings and your buyers, you've got a number of different stages. So for me, I have cultivate, appointment, active, under contract, and closed. And if you click under each one of these, you'll see that there's multiple stages within each one of them. Now, you'll have a lot of your default settings there if you haven't updated these already. I used what Command and KW already had there mostly, and just kind of fixed them a little bit. I know that they each have this legacy stage. I think that's more of an American thing, and so I've deleted legacy for the most part. Also too, you'll see that over here I have one listing here, Larry Allen. He's not actually a client of mine, but obviously, but Larry and I do a lot of business at Goresbrook together. So I have Larry set up in here because we're always sending documents back and forth over DocuSign, and that's kind of one way that I'd set him up. So that's kind of a nothing one. So we'll go into, so here under the stage of cultivate, I have a watch, I have a nurture, and I have a hot. So this is literally when you first get a lead. This is somebody that maybe come in off your website or a friend mentioned to you that they have somebody who's looking to buy. And so, you know, this is kind of that phase where I would put them. If we click over to appointment, have you scheduled the appointment? You're currently scheduling the appointment. You have scheduled the appointment. And then after scheduling the appointment, do you have the seller designated buyer agreement signed? Now, what's really neat within here is if you click on edit stages, for example, within the stages, you can have a checklist. So this is really helpful because, you know, let's just say I've got a listing opportunity and right now that person is in the scheduling phase. Well, I'm going to come down here and these are the tasks that I've created to put in to go along with that stage of the opportunity. So the first thing I have to do is schedule the appointment. I want to research their property and neighborhood. I'm going to create a CMA. I'm going to do some additional prep for listings. And I'm also going to write up the SDBA and the WWR at this point because I'm going to take that with me when I go to my listing appointment. The nice thing is here is as you go through each opportunity, you can check off these items. Now, I'm not really great with the tasks. I still have some big holes to fill within my opportunity stages, but this is something where you can really build this out, and I'll show you how shortly, to really keep track of all the things that you have going on. Because as you guys know, once you get into having 2 or 3 deals going at once, it can be quite confusing as to what needs to be done and where it needs to go. So it's a really helpful checklist. Now, if you wanted to add a stage, so let's just say here, in my appointment stages right now, I have scheduling, I've scheduled, so I've had the appointment, and now I've got the SDBA signed. But maybe I want to add another stage here, and that stage, for example, is going to be just follow up. I've had the appointment and I want to follow up. Well, that's going to come obviously before the SDBA signs. And in here, if I want to add a checklist to go along with the stage, I just click in here and I'm going to say call seller, save. So now within this here stage, you know, I'm scheduling an appointment. I've held the appointment. Now I'm going to follow up. I'm going to make sure I get that SDBA signed. The other nice thing is you can change the probability over here to determine at what point, and this is an arbitrary number, but it's really just to determine like at what point do you think, at what chance is this actually going to turn into money? So for me, when I'm just scheduling an appointment, I say there's 1 in 10 chance that I'm going to capture that lead. Once I get the appointment, I'm good 25%. And then once I have an SDBA signed, I think there's a 50% chance. Actually, I could increase that because there's only one listing that I've had in my 4 years that I haven't been able to sell. It's one I have right now. So I could even increase that a little bit. You don't want to get it too high because you want to keep these numbers kind of fair because you're not going to win every deal, every stage along the way. So I'm just going to delete this follow-up because I don't really need that in there. If I'm talking too fast or skipping anything, let me know, guys. I'm not, this is my first time teaching over Zoom. So again, going back to listings. So I have my cultivate, my appointment, my active, my under contract, and my closed. So I've shown you how to go in and just create a stage and then create tasks within that stage. But before we kind of get into me actually going through that, I just want to show you where the value really comes in this. So as I mentioned earlier, I have a potential income with my buyers at 136,000. And right now that goes, wow, that's incredible, right? How amazing would that be? But my probable income is only 56,000, which means I need to do some work and really move some buyers along. The really first place that I'm going to look for that is over here in cultivate an appointment. You'll notice that under appointment for buyers, I have 8 buyer leads right now. I have a whole bunch of buyers that are stuck at that stage where I've met them, I've talked to them, we go back and forth, but I don't have a BDBA signed right now. So I'm not going to move them past 30% in my funnel until I have a BDBA signed. Because right now we're just talking, whether it's text, phone, email, and me sending them listings. But they're not real buyers until I get that BDBA signed, as you guys know. Once I get a BDBA signed, I move them over here to my active phase. And then they fall under, I have the BDBA signed. Once we have the BDBA signed, the next phase we go into is searching or looking for the home, showing homes. Then once you find a home, then I move them into under contract. Now it's really easy to move people along. So for example, if I want to take Glenn Fife, who's an old past client of mine and looking for an investment property, and I want to move him into the active phase, I literally just click on him here. I'm going to drag him up to active. Okay, so now he's been updated And now he's going to fall over here into the BDBA section. If I have the buyer designated brokerage agreement signed, I move them in here. Now we're searching for homes. And what happens every time I do this, his probability of buying something automatically goes up. So now if we go back to my home screen under opportunities, you're going to see that that $57,000 for probable is now changed up to 58,000, just because he's now 10 or 20% closer to actually buying something. And down here, you'll now see I have 7 in my appointment and 5 in my active range. Now, something that we learned before, if I just take a buyer here or from appointment, and I move them all the way up over here under contract, all those tasks that I've set under each one of these stages, they get skipped. So you really want to be careful that if you are just, if you do just get a BDBA sign and you meet a client and you immediately go out and you're searching for properties, you really want to make sure that all those tasks that you had to do back in the cultivate stages, in the appointment stages, in the active stages, didn't get missed. So you may have to go back and just click on those stages just to make sure that those tasks are completed. So with that, I'm going to get started. I'm going to show you guys how to create an opportunity. I'm assuming everybody has a contact, so we're just going to start with that. So for create an opportunity, actually, before I get into that, I'm actually going to show you guys how to create tags. And I want to show you how to create tags because this is really powerful stuff. Sorry, I'm jumping all over the place. I'm going to show you all opportunities. So this is one screen here. This is my home screen for opportunities, where you can see kind of like the big picture view of what I have going on. But if I want to kind of dive in and see all of my opportunities listed in a row, I click on the All Opportunities button up here. And this is really valuable here because this allows me to go through and see everyone who's closed, people I have under contract. But sometimes, as you guys know, there's just that buyer you talked to 3 or 4 months ago and you've forgotten about them. So it's a good place to come down here and recap and see who might be slipping through your cracks. The other nice thing is, and this is why I really like tags, is I tag all of my clients and I tag all of my opportunities. And the reason why is I want to know where my business is coming from. So when I click on this, you see sphere of influence, sphere of influence, sphere of influence, hockey, sphere of influence, sphere of influence. So I do the bulk of my business just mining my data, just mining people I know, friends, family members. Who do you know who's buying, selling, and investing in real estate? Now that I'm getting into the business a little bit, people are becoming some past clients. The other thing that really shocked me is I didn't realize how much business I get out of hockey until I actually went through and put in all of my opportunities and saw that I have over 10 deals that I've done in the last few years just from hockey alone. Also, Janice and I and Larry, we do work down in Goresbrook, and sometimes we get some spin business off of that. So I want to know, I've created a tag for Goresbrook as well. So to create a tag, click up here on your settings. You're going to go over here to your settings button. Under command settings here, hit the drop down menu. And first I'm going to show you contacts. So you go in here, you go to contact tags. Okay. Now, my tags that I have, all these white ones are ones that are automatically just put in they're just default ones that are there. But I want to know, who's a seller? Have they bought? Have they sold? Are they part of my downline? And I think over here so these are the ones that I've created. You can see how many people I have under each tags, and I use multiple tags from multiple people because this is going to help me go back and mine my database. So right away, I want to know how many of my contacts are in Nova Scotia. The reason I want to know that is because come Halloween, if I want to deliver pumpkins to my clients, I don't need to know all my clients who are outside of Nova Scotia. I just need to know my clients who are in Nova Scotia. I want to know which of my contacts came from my sphere, which are current clients. So these are clients I'm currently working with. Past clients. So these are clients that I had in the past. Now you'll notice these don't all add up. So I've got a little bit of work to do here. Hockey, I've got 13 clients. Goresbrook, I have 11 clients. A core advocate. A core advocate is someone who sends me business. I have a property manager and a lawyer. They send me a lot of business. So I consider them my core advocates. They're the ones who are out there helping me. I've been doing a little bit of postcard drops in my neighborhood. So these are some two contacts I've got from there. When I first got in the business, Andrew Perkins and I worked a lot together, and he referred quite a bit of business to me. So you can see I've got quite a bit of contacts from there. Morris Marketing, that's my newsletter that goes out every month. So who's on that? So if I want to create a new tag, you just click here, create new tag, and let's just say I'm doing Facebook ads, or let's just say social media ads. So this might be a lead that I get through a social media ad that I did. And I'm going to color it for no particular reason. Keller Williams, I'll color this one red. Create. So then when I go and create a client or add someone new to my database, I now know that person, when I want to go and kind of look at my year and where my contacts are coming, I can now tag them with the social media ad. So just continuing through tags, I've got outside of Nova Scotia, family, an industry peer, a listing lead, a cold lead. These are people that, or deep prospect. These are people here for me who they might buy at some point in time, but I'm not really counting on them. People I've met through my MBA program, and referral leads. Okay, so when I go back through this, I can really kind of start to see where the bulk of my contacts are following, which is really powerful stuff. And we want to do the same for opportunities. So under the same button, how I got here, I'll just do it again. You click on settings, you come to command settings, you click on contacts, and you come down to custom tags. Now, just now I was in contacts, but you can also create tags for opportunities. And they are a little bit different than what you just have for contacts. So for me, I will put multiple tags on a contact, but I'll only put one tag on an opportunity. That's just how I do it. The way I look at it is my opportunities only come from one place, whereas a contact, they may fit a bunch of different molds. So my opportunities, it's either a past client, again, sphere of influence, Goresbrook, a web lead, hockey, postcards, Andrew Perkins referral, family, or a listing lead from a listing. And the last one here, an industry referral. Okay, so going back to opportunities, we're going to create an opportunity now. Oh, sorry, clicked the wrong one. Okay, so I'm going to create a listing opportunity, and I've got myself in here just as so I can play around. So I'm just going to use that, and I'm Phil Gmail. And so a lot of this automatically populates. So it's Keller Williams Select Realty, obviously. If you want it to be a buyer or listing, landlord or tenant. So I only use buyer and listing because that's all that's kind of pertinent to my business. So this is a listing lead. Now, already in here, because I have my brother in here, he pops up as a co-seller. Now I'm not going to click him because him and I don't own the, well, let's just say I'm selling mine and my brother's property. So that would automatically populate, because when you put in contacts, you can put in if they have a spouse or sibling and things like that as well. So that's why he populates there. So I'm going to put him there. So now it's called Phil Gmail listing. If I had an actual last name in, it would be Phil Evans listing. That would be the name. Now, custom tags. This is where those tags come back up. So I want to know where this opportunity came from, and this one here, it's family. Okay, so this came from family. Now I know that this person is thinking of listing their place in June. It's probably not, it's going to sell right away, maybe close end of the summer. So I'm going to put an August closing. Has to be a weekday, so I'll just pick August 28th. Say the sale price is $300,000, and I'm going to make 2.5% commission on this sale. Now, here I get to automatically put them into the phase that, or the stage that I want them to be in. So this is a brand new opportunity for me right back at the beginning. So I'm going to put them in the cultivate stage under watch, and I'm going to hit create. Then it pops you over to here. So you see some blanks here. I'm one of those people, I like to fill in as much as this as possible. So I missed some things. So first and foremost, what's the property address that I'm going to be listing? Well, I'm going to put in my own home address, Candy Mountain Road in Mineville, and you'll see everything else just automatically populated just there. So now we have the address. Also, I want to come over here and I want to edit some things in this box as well. So time frame, I'm going to call it 6 months. And the appointments, this stuff here, you don't really have to fill this in, but I find some of it helpful if you really want to start to track how long it takes you to close a listing lead once you get it. Again, the more information you give Command, the better it will serve you in the future, because you will be able to go back at the end of your year or end of your quarter and say, where did all my business come from? And how long on average does it take me to turn a listing lead or a buying lead into hardcore, like hard cash, which are things that we want to know. So for this argument's sake, I'm going to say I scheduled the appointment today. The appointment date is for the 22nd. And then if I win the agreement, I can come back and fill that in later. So now we've created an opportunity. So when we come back out of here, we're going to come back to the listings. That new listing that that opportunity I've created is right back in Cultivate. And you'll see down here, I'm 0 for 4 for tasks. So I'm going to go in here and I want to retrieve all their contact information right away. Why? Because I want to add them to Command. So I've retrieved their contact information. I've added them to Command. I've created the opportunity, and now I might want to add them to a smart plan. Okay, so I'm going to close that there. And now I've created 3 or 4. Well, great for me. I've actually now won the appointment. So I'm now going to pick this lead up and I'm going to move them over to my appointment stage. Doesn't want to go. All right. So now that lead or opportunity is now automatically gone over into the appointment stage. Under scheduling, you'll see now I have 5 more tasks that I need to complete. So I'm going to click on this. I've scheduled my listing appointment. So now that I've scheduled it, I've got to research the neighborhood and I'm going to create my CMA. I'm also going to write my SDBA and WWR because I want to bring those items with me. And I'm just going to do some additional prep for the listing because I created my CMA last night. And before I head over at 2 o'clock this afternoon, I'm going to double check to see if any other listings have come on the market today. Close that. Boom. Well, my listing and presentation went very well. And now I've moved them over into SDBA. I've got the seller designated brokerage agreement signed. In fact, I'm going to move them up to active. And now once they come into active, you'll see I have 6 more tasks here that I've created. So now I have to book my photographer. I have to call Steven, my sign guy, to put my sign up. I've got to write the FinTrack IDs. I've got to get all the docs from seller. So this here, I want the Nova Scotia Power documents, the property taxes, the oil bill summary, and I also need the sellers to write their PDS. So you start to see how this really, really helps you as you start to move people along in your opportunities and kind of gets you through it without missing any really important tasks. I know for myself, I'm really bad at asking for referrals or repeat business. So one thing that I need to start doing is that once I get people under contract and sold during that period of time, that's when I need to start doing that task, for example. Now, if we go back out, what's really nice, if you guys remember the numbers from my opportunity funnel earlier, I think they're around like $37,000 and $57,000. You'll now see that it's up to $41,000 and $64,000, just that one listing alone, just creating that opportunity and bringing them all the way up into active. So it really starts to show that, you know, that income that potential income and the probable income that you could have for the year. And it allows you to, what's nice about this is you can see just based on my funnels alone, that my listing opportunities are a lot further down my funnel than my buyer opportunities are, which to me means, you know, two things. One, I need more listing opportunities, but two, I need to focus some time on my buyer opportunities. So I can, you know, I want to start moving some of these buyers that I have here under that I don't have under contract. I need to start making them active, so I can get them, you know, one step closer to transacting with me. I'm just going to pause there for a second and see if I have any questions. No? So all opportunities here. So now it's great if I want to filter my opportunities, for example. I want to see, so before I do that, do you guys see how I went there? So back up here under opportunities, we have Phil Evans here, which is your main screen. That's kind of your dashboard for opportunities. And then we have all opportunities. So I'm in here right now, and I just want to filter my opportunities. I just want to see my listings that have come from hockey, for example. So I've had 2 listings that have come directly from hockey. Go back to filters. I want to see my listers and my buyers who've come from hockey. And you'll see there's 3 contacts there. So that's just in my opportunities. So it really, again, I can't stress enough how important these tags are, because it just is going to show you where your business is coming from. The one thing that Glenn McQueenie said that really, really stood out to me, because I was beating myself up over the fact that I hate door knocking. I don't want to do it. I don't feel comfortable doing it. I suck at it. There's nothing I like about door knocking. It's just not for me. And Glenn McQueenie said one time, he said, if you make deals on the golf course, play more golf. Don't always be looking over the fence at what your colleagues or your competition is doing. Do what works best for you. And that really helped me a lot, because I was beating myself up over not having a strong online presence or door knocking, but there were things that I was doing that were really, really good as well, which is just working my sphere of influence. So, you know, to that, if I click on sphere of influence, you'll see that the bulk of my business comes from my sphere. Just people I know, friends I have who have people. So, you know, to me, this is really good, but I may want, you know, this shows me a couple of different things. One, I should probably diversify a little bit on how I get my leads, but also two, you know, just the importance of asking friends and family members for business is, you know, I wouldn't be in business if it wasn't for that. So, you know, your sphere of influence can be quite powerful, for me anyway, there. So that's why I really like the custom tags. again, it just shows me where my business is coming from. Any questions? Or did I go over anything too quickly? Do you guys want to see again how you add tags or add tasks into the stages? So again, if I'm just in here and I want to edit my stages, okay? So you click edit stages. So here, this is one legacy that I just don't even know what it means. It's a US thing. I don't want that there. So I'm going to delete that stage. Now, if I want to edit some of these and change the probability, so for maybe you guys feel that once you get a buyer designated brokerage agreement signed, that's about 70% chance that that's going to turn into cash for you, then you can make that 70% if you like. I would just move it, keep these in order. That way, the more people you keep the probability kind of ascending. So as you move them through your funnel, they become more and more likely. That would be my only recommendation there. But for me, once I have a BDBA signed and we're out searching and showing houses, they're normally almost always going to transact. So I have them up to 70%. If you want to add something, so my tasks are all in my listings. I don't have them set up in my buyers. But again, if you just want to add a checklist to a certain stage, again, under the editing the active stages, you just click on checklist and you add new item. It's really that simple. That is kind of to the extent that I use opportunities. If somebody here has something that they would like to add, certainly feel free to do so. I'm just going to click here and see. Any questions? No? So I'm just going to take you all through it one more time, I guess, just so you can see. And we're going to go right from the add contact stage. So I think this is very important as well. So I want to add so if you just go right back to the add contact, and if you actually go back, if you actually see my home screen, you'll start to see all the tags that I use. And again, I can't stress enough how much how much this helps me in just seeing where my business is coming from. So we want to add a contact. Just because I have all of her information, I'm going to put Erin Malcolm because I know she's not in mine. I'm going to click over here, grab Erin's email real quick. So there's Erin. I would normally put her phone number in. She's a lead right now, and Erin is a buyer. She's a current client, and she lives in Nova Scotia. So those are the things that I want there. Then if I want to add more information here, she likes to be contacted by email. You can put in her address if you wanted to. But then right here, this is some really good information under contacts as well. You're going to know their birthdays once you get, once you have to do a FinTrack. So this is really helpful as well, knowing their birthday. You're also going to know their home anniversary once they buy. And their spouse. So here's earlier how this was. So if I had Alex in as well, I would write Alex in. as well. And then I've captured this lead. So I want that to be done. So now that I've added Aaron, I'm going to go back over to opportunities. And I'm going to create an opportunity. And Aaron and Alex are buying a new home. So just by typing in her name, she pops up here. Aaron, and now if I had Alex in, he would automatically just show up right there because I would have connected them under their contacts. Now, I'm going to tag it again differently than how I tag similar. So I've tagged her as a contact, but now I want to tag this as an opportunity. And it's an industry referral. Okay, they need to buy something really quick in the next 2 months, so by June 30th, and they're having a, they're going to buy a $500,000 home, and I'm going to say my commission rate on that is going to be 2.2% for now, because in that price range you don't always get your 2.5, and I'm going to put it in the cultivate stage as well. And just like that, I've created a buyer lead for Erin. Now, I don't know what address she's going to buy, so I can't populate that part right now. But if I wanted to go in again and populate the appointment schedule, and appointment date, and things like that as well, I could certainly do that. So they're going to buy within 3 months. We're going to meet tomorrow. Oh, the appointment was scheduled today to meet tomorrow. And that's really all I can fill in at the moment for a buyer lead. But again, if we come back out here, back to the opportunity homepage, you'll see now that my buyer probable and potential has gone up again. And I've got them over here in this cultivate stage. So click on that cultivate stage, and as I work with Erin, I'm going to continue to move her through the various stages, and her probability of transacting as I get her through each of these stages is going to go up, which is going to change that dollar value. Well, now we've got the appointment. So again, I drag her up here into appointment, and there she goes over here. Come in here, now she's up to 10%, 20%, and 30%, and so on. And again, if we come back to my opportunities homepage, that dollar value, that just keeps climbing. And to me, and I'm sure to most of you, the reason we get into sales is because we love those commission checks. And when I see these numbers increasing over here, it makes me feel really good. So that's why probably more than anything, I have my contacts and my opportunities mostly updated here in Command. The other thing down here, if you scroll down to your homepage a little bit, and this was really shocking to me, this was a good eye-opener. I thought that I was primarily a buyer's agent. I was always working with buyers, and if someone had asked me, I would have said that 9 out of 10 of my clients are buyers. Turns out 40% of my business is, almost 40% of my business is listings. So I do a lot more on the listing side than I actually give myself credit for, and then I thought. So, I wouldn't have necessarily seen these two numbers, 38 and 62%, had I not had all my opportunities updated. And it's helpful. These are things, if we want to be on top of our business, these are things that we want to know and to see. You'll also see that in November, I added a lot of opportunities, and then I kind of fell off. And then just kind of getting ready for today, I updated a bunch this week. Over the weekend. But it's always good to just kind of see, and this should just steadily be climbing if we're using this properly, because we should be adding at least 1 or 2 opportunities every week, if not more than that, to see these opportunities climbing. And closing this month, I think that's just where I don't have my closings as organized up here. I could probably go in and put the closing dates back in the opportunities. So for example, under contract, I know both of these listings close in June. So if I were to go in and edit these, so it does know that it's closing June 29th. I have already put that in, okay? So that would then populate, it should populate out there. Yeah. Again, any questions? Or does anybody who's familiar with Command and uses opportunities feel that I've missed a really cool or unique or important step here?
I just wanted to add a big reason that KW is building Command is so that we, as the agents, own our own data instead of companies like Zillow. So if you input all of your opportunities properly and move them through your pipeline properly, it's learning your business, learning how you function in order to, and then it can like analyze it and help you with your business. So a lot of people I know don't bother putting in opportunities in the cultivate or maybe even the appointment stage. They wait until it's active.
Mm-hmm.
That's not benefiting you because it's not learning your business. It's not learning the likelihoods of you getting paid on the different phases. It's not learning how long you spend in each phase. And then it can't help you if you're not giving it the information it needs to help you.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more with what Erin said. I learned so much about my business just by putting these opportunities into Command. Again, I didn't realize how much of my business came from my sphere of influence, and how little of my business came from the marketing initiatives and the money I actually spend on my business to try to get leads. I get so much more business just by picking up the phone and calling people and saying, who do you know who's looking to buy, sell, and invest in real estate in Halifax, as opposed to spending $300 to do a postcard mail out in my own backyard. So I couldn't agree more with what Erin said. And the more information you put in here, the better off your business and you will be in the long term. Because again, you want to know how long on average does it take for you to move a buyer into hard, cold cash that's going to be in your bank account? And where are those buyers coming from? Where are those listings coming from? What percentage of your business is buyers versus listings? It does all the math here right for you. And every time you log on, if you don't see these numbers increasing over here on the right, then you're not doing something. You're doing something wrong. And it is just a tremendous tool to know, again, where your business is coming from and where it's headed. And play around with it, guys. You can't break it. That's what's so awesome about it. Like, if you come into an appointment and you decide to edit a stage and you say, you know what, I want another stage here, you know, and you put something in and then you decide later that you don't want it, you know, you can delete it. You're not going to break it. If you put in a task up here and you realize, geez, that task is really better suited to be under scheduled or SDBA, then you can do that. But you can't, you're not going to break Command by playing around with it and putting information into it. So I highly recommend everybody do it and continue to do it and continue to evolve. I mean, these checklists here for every stage, I should have 5 or 6 items for every stage. You know, that way I know I'm not missing anything. I'm not ever missing that opportunity to get a testimonial. I'm not ever missing that opportunity to ask for business. I'm never forgetting to get that property disclosure statement signed or the documents sent over to the mortgage broker or the lawyer. And as you guys know, when in normal times when we're busy, we're out showing schedules, you got 2 or 3 deals on the go, how many of these small little tasks sometimes get overlooked. Well, this here system, you can make it yourself. You can tailor it to your own business, and it'll just prevent you from missing those really important steps. I know last year I went through a phase where I had 5 or 6 clients in a row who I think I did a wonderful job with, and I never got one testimonial and never asked for one piece of business from them. I mean, just complete, failure really on my end. And not that maybe having them as tasks here would have, ensured that I did it, but at least it would have reminded me to do it. That's really all I have, guys.
This was great, Phil. I love the idea of the tags. Like I had a lot of people tagged in my contacts, but I think creating new tags to really streamline where you're getting your business from is huge, and being able to then follow up or focus in on just one tag for a specific reason. I think it's great.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's Renee mentioned this before, and I haven't done it yet, but she actually color coordinates her tags. So like, I have to see how she does it, but if she uses green for tags for people who are like red hot, or yellow tags for people who are cold, things like that. So you can get even a little bit more creative with your tags as well. But once I started to use the tags, it was awesome, especially when I was updating my database last fall.
Another idea with the coloring of the tags is everything that's related. So if you're gonna make tags for different provinces of where they live, make all of the tags purple, but one would say Nova Scotia, one would say New Brunswick, whatever. Or like lead source would all be red, but they might be like Perkins referral or postcard mail out. So just so you can quickly see, like, so my lead sources are red, but they're all going to be a different lead source. Where they live are all purple, but the tag's going to specifically say which province they live in.
Right. So that way, when you're looking through them, you'll only have one red tag, one purple tag, one orange tag, as opposed to, like, you'll see in my database, one person might have 3 yellow tags just because they fall under that. And yeah, that's a really good idea. And I think that's what Renee was pointing to, or I think it was Renee who mentioned it on one of our calls in the last couple of weeks, that that's what she's done.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, but it's smart. It's super smart. And the reason, again, why I want to know that is because I want to know, come Halloween or Christmas, who can I drop the Christmas card off to say hi, and who needs to be mailed out? Who is getting who's getting a pumpkin on Halloween? Little things like that, which is why I want to know, specifically, just really quickly, who's in Nova Scotia, who's in Ontario, and things like that. But that's it, guys. That's really all I have for opportunities. Again, I recommend everybody get in there and play around with it, and you'll be surprised once you start. I mean, I started throwing everybody last fall into this cultivate an appointment stage, and now you do move them over, and it's really helpful. I know today that I've got some work to do here on appointment. Enough is enough. I've got 8 people kind of just in that phase, that block where I've been communicating with them. I'm talking to them, emailing with them, sending them properties, but they need to get buyer designated brokerage agreements signed with me, just so I can move on. And one last thing, the only thing I wish I could do is sometimes I duplicate opportunities because I've forgotten that I've put them in already. You can't actually delete them, but you can archive them. So obviously, if Erin decides to buy, she's probably going to hire Alex. So she's not going to use me. So I'm going to archive Erin.
One would hope.
One would hope. Yeah.
After quarantining with him, I might change my mind.
There you go. So that's it, guys. That's all I have for today. I hope it was helpful. And if you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out, and I'll do my best to answer questions for sure. Okay.
Well, thank you.
No, you're welcome, guys. Stay safe.
Thanks, Phil.
You're welcome.
Guess that's it.
Yep, that's it. Have a nice day, guys.